Filled with murky waters, swamps hold creatures no one knew existed. From unbelievably huge snakes to terrifying beings. Hang on to watch the most terrifying swamp encounters that shocked the whole world. One night in Indonesia, a group of friends was walking through the woods when they noticed something moving in the muddy water. At first, they thought it was just the water shifting, but then they saw it. A strange, hairy creature covered in mud. Its body was moving slowly, its eyes barely visible through the mud. As it made its way toward a nearby bridge, the group felt uneasy. Some thought it was just a wet animal, but others weren't so sure. The way it moved didn't seem normal. Hence, they couldn't figure out what it was. But what's your take on this? Swamp encounter. A fisherman was out on the water, collecting his net after a long day. Just as he was about to step onto the shore, he felt a strong pull. At first, he thought it was a big catch. But then he saw them, two black humanoid figures rising from the water. They gripped the net tightly, dragging it back. Not sure how to get rid of them, he just went for the dim lights on the shore. Acting fast, he grabbed one and held it out. The figures hesitated, then slowly backed away. As he climbed out, they disappeared into the dark waters. To this day, he wonders what they were and why they feared the light. Unexpected sighting.
Dapat kawan baru na.
What would you do if you came across a sight like this? This local happened to come face to face with this creature that appeared just in front of him, near a fish pond. A giant, hairy figure emerged. Its long, sharp teeth gleamed as it watched him. He got scared as he realized what it looked like a grandong. Stories say this creature creeps in remote areas, frightening anyone who sees it. It didn't move, but its presence alone was enough to give him nightmares. Not wanting to find out what it would do next, he decided to turn and left quickly. River mystery. At Flat Bridge, Jamaica, everything seemed normal until a shadow appeared in the water, catching the friends' attention. A human-shaped head with long hair peeked out of the water. For a moment, it just stayed there, but with the people spotting it and shouting loudly, I believe it got scared. Within moments, it vanished beneath the surface. They waited, hoping to see it again, but the water remained still. According to them, it was a mermaid, the kind spoken of in legends, half human and half fish, said to lure sailors with their beauty and songs. But it one never reappeared for the people to be sure of what they recorded.
Alive! Jesus Christ! I wish you gone!
Lake encounter. In the Suku Mante tribe of Indonesia, a local witnessed a sight near a river in which a black, hairy, humanoid figure stood by the water, completely still. For a moment, they stared at each other. Then, in an instant, the creature leaped into the lake, disappearing under the surface. It was as if it didn't want to be seen, but its appearance was undeniable. The local didn't wait around. He turned and left before it had a chance to reappear. Was it a ghost, or something far more mysterious that was hiding in the woods? No one can say for sure. Swamp giant. You've heard of scary creatures, but this one was on another level. A tourist boat was near a swamp when they spotted something enormous. A massive head peeked out of the water, followed by a long, powerful tail. It barely moved, yet its size alone was terrifying. This wasn't just any alligator, it was a colossal one. Legends speak of giant reptiles creeping in swamps, larger than any known species. The group moved silently and waited for the perfect moment to get away. Luckily, this one was far from them. If it had been any closer, things might have turned out very differently. Underwater watcher. While fishing, a fisherman noticed a strange shape took form just below the surface. It had a long head and hollow eyes, staring directly at him. It wasn't any sea creature he had ever seen. Its appearance was weirdly similar to an alien trying to stay hidden. For a moment, their eyes met, sending a wave of fear through him. Then, without a sound, The figure turned and after that disappeared into the depths. He stood frozen, struggling to process what had just happened. Whatever had been creeping below was gone, and he had no intention of stepping into that water anytime soon. River encounter. In the river, these friends happened to catch a black humanoid figure that was floating nearby. Its dark face and creepy presence matched the descriptions of the famous water ghost that had been the subject of speculation for years. Unlike most, they didn't run. Instead, they bravely approached and even managed to grab hold of it. But just as the tension peaked, the video recording suddenly cut off. No one knows what happened next, leaving the mystery unresolved. Lake's Watcher. What started as a fun day swimming in the river soon became a tense moment for a group of friends when they noticed a strange figure approaching. A dark figure with glowing eyes and a long tail moved through the water, circling them slowly. One of them grabbed a stick, his hands shaking as he recalled the legend of the Ango, a feared water ghost said to haunt lakes. No matter what they did, the creature didn't back away. With no time to think, they swam as fast as they could towards the shore. Gasping for breath, they turned back, but the creature had disappeared, leaving them suspecting what they had just encountered. Swamp Grip. While rescuing a small boat in a swamp at night, a friend suddenly pulled his hand from the water, claiming that something had grabbed his hand. At first, they thought he was joking, but the look on his face told a different story, and they checked the camera. A strange gleam flickered beneath the surface, and then a hand emerged. Its long, thin fingers were all the same length, nothing like any known creature. No one dared to stay and find out more. Fearing it might pull them under, they abandoned the boat and ran. All they had left was their shaky footage, proof that some unnatural being stalked under those dark waters. Drifting Shadow. In a lake in Indonesia, what seemed like a normal day by the lake changed when a strange, dark shape appeared on the water. From afar, it resembled a human body, but as it moved closer, its black, furry appearance unsettled everyone. The strange sight left them frozen. It didn't thrash or sink, just floated, motionless. No one dared to approach. Instead, they watched in silence as the figure slowly drifted away, disappearing into the distance. Whatever it was, it left behind a remaining unease. Even now, those who witnessed it still wonder what truly floated past them that day. Giant Hunters. Sharks or something straight from the deep-sea horrors? A fisherman was trying to catch fish from the flowing stream when he spotted 3 massive shapes. They were moving in synchronization and were enough to give anyone a scare. The guy who captured it believed they were sharks that were after the same prey, but the online spectators called it the Loch Ness monster. And if you ask me, I'll go with the second opinion because I have never seen 3 sharks moving this close. Have you? River Beast. A family was enjoying a peaceful boat ride until they realized they weren't alone on the water. It was a lifeless animal drifting on the water's surface. But the strange part? Something even bigger crept under it. Just under the floating body, a massive reptilian creature moved silently. It was even larger and more monstrous than any alligator they had ever seen. Its sheer size and powerful presence reminded them of Godzilla himself. Luckily, it was too focused on its prey to notice them. Had it been hungry for more, the family's boat ride could have taken a terrifying turn. Horned River Beast. Deep in the Amazon, a group of tribesmen stood frozen as a horned creature leaped into the river. It was chasing its prey, gripping it tightly as the animal struggled to break free. The tribesmen knew they had to act fast. They grabbed large rocks and hurled them into the water, hoping to scare the beast away. The river splashed wildly as the creature hesitated for a moment. Then, it vanished beneath the surface. The tribesmen captured the moment on video, a story their village would never forget. Hidden in the woods.
Bunyinya nggak? Bagaimana ini, Bang? Sepertinya, Bang,
Alone in the woods, a camper's attention was drawn to two shadowy figures shifting through the trees. Their strange appearance made them scared. They weren't animals or ordinary people. They were Boonian beings, known in Indonesian folklore as supernatural entities. Most humans couldn't see them, except those with spiritual sight. He stood frozen, watching as they moved silently through the trees. And for him, that sight was enough, and he didn't want to know or see more about them. So he decided to leave, but their appearance made him wonder how many others had walked past them without ever knowing.
Apa itu bang ya?
Shadow Crawler. In 2012, an adventurer near a quiet lake saw something he couldn't explain. A strange, black, giggling creature crawled out of the water and slithered toward the woods. Its body was covered in tentacle-like limbs, twisting and shifting as it moved. Strangely, it had no visible eyes or features, making it even more unsettling. Was it an unknown species, or from beyond this world? The adventurer didn't wait to find out. He decided to leave immediately, but the memory of that creepy figure never faded. River Phantom. A local was crossing near the river just like any other day, but this time the water wasn't still. A black figure drifted just under the water. It wasn't an animal, nor was it any ordinary creature. This was a ghost. A water spirit said to roam this part of the river, appearing to those unlucky enough to cross its path. The locals didn't stay to find out more. He wasn't willing to take any chances. He quickly left, knowing that some legends are better left undisturbed. Swamp Giant. The swamp appeared calm with just water, but what this family saw was far from ordinary. A long-necked creature slowly peeked out of the water, its dark eyes scanning the area. But that wasn't all. Behind it, parts of its massive body surfaced, revealing its enormous size. For a moment, they just stared, unable to believe what they were seeing. It looked just like the Loch Ness monster, but in a swamp. If true, it meant the creature traveled between waters. Well, it was a sight they can't figure it out. But what's your take on this? Swamp Mystery. A strange creature appeared in a swamp in North Queensland, leaving locals confused. The team who recorded it posted the footage online, hoping to find answers. Viewers had mixed opinions. Some described it as a large, muscular being, while others compared it to a small whale. Even experts couldn't agree, suggesting it might be an amphibious fish or similar, but no one could confirm what it really was. With no clear explanation, the mystery remains, making people think about what else might be creeping in those waters. Dark Phantom. The video spread like wildfire. A dark shape moved just beneath the choppy water, its slick form broke the surface, and then a single twisted fin emerged. Moving eerily, it got the attention of the onlookers. They began recording, and when shared online, the footage sent the internet into a frenzy. Some claimed it was a sea creature never seen before, while others swore it was else entirely. It could be a deep sea monster who accidentally came on the surface and went down as soon as it spotted the audience. Unseen Presence.
Tak sampai 10 saat kalau Anda.
While playing in the water, friends captured what appeared to be a black, hairy figure. Its entire body was covered in hair, and it didn't move at all. It was hard to tell what it really was. A strange, unidentified being? Or just an ordinary being that only looked unusual? No one could say for sure. Unlike others, they didn't run. Instead, they chose to stick around and try to find out the reality of that being. But it wasn't fruitful, as the group, even after hours of examination, couldn't understand what it actually was.
Muli mo buta ini, ikaw Anda akan kebabong.
Shore Discovery. An explorer was wandering along the rocky shore when he noticed something different. Near the sand, a tangle of dark, twisting limbs caught his eye. Curious, he carefully lifted it into his palm. The creature's body was small and smooth, like a pebble, but 5 long arms stretched from it. It moved gently around his fingers. I'm not sure what to do with this strange creature he just caught. The guy just dropped it into the water again. Swamp giant. A strange video surfaced online capturing a massive creature creeping into a swamp. It never fully emerged, making it difficult to identify, but its sheer size was impossible to ignore. The dark shape shifted beneath the water, moving carefully as if trying to stay hidden. Some viewers were convinced it was a monster, a creature unknown to science. Others believed it could be a large, undiscovered animal adapted to the murky waters. Experts tried analyzing the footage, but no one could say for sure what it was. The mystery only deepened as more people debated its origin. Whatever it was, it left many thinking what else might be hiding in the swamps, waiting to be discovered. River predator. As these friends were near the swamp, they never expected to see a giant monster break the surface of the water just a few feet away. At first, they thought it was just a regular, but as it moved closer, they realized it was no ordinary fish. It was a chanatoman, the giant snakehead. Its sleek, patterned body moved effortlessly through the water, and it is said to have sharp eyes that seem to follow its every move. One friend recalled stories about its aggressive nature and powerful bite. As this fish wasn't going to be an easy catch, they stood there in silence, still processing what they had just witnessed. Giant in water. Travelers were exploring a remote river deep in the Brazilian rainforest when one of them suddenly stopped. Just ahead, a massive anaconda was making its way into the water. Its thick, scaly body stretched farther than they could see, its powerful muscles shifting as it moved. The snake glided forward slowly, disappearing beneath the surface with barely a sound. The travelers stood frozen, realizing they had just witnessed one of the largest predators of the Amazon. It was a rare sight, something few people ever get to see in their lifetime. The river remained still, as if nothing had happened, but they would never forget what they had just seen. Eerie footage. The footage appeared online on December 2023, in which a local saw a decayed figure jutted from the murky water. Shows a local spotting a decayed figure sticking out of murky water. Beneath it, strange creatures cling to the rotting mass. Small, clawed beings that shift and twitch, seeming to guard it. The spindly legs move in eerie unison, clicking against the decayed form dot. Whether they were feeding or protecting something, their presence made the scene even more disturbing. Night dive encounter. Kalimantan is known for its strange stories, and this one is no different. A diver recorded footage at night, capturing a scary sight. A head floating above the water. Its body might be hidden beneath the surface. What made it truly unsettling was its single glowing blue eye staring straight at him. It seemed to be a creature just like those from the horror movies, but he wasn't sure what exactly. The diver didn't wait to find out more. Realizing he was witnessing something unnatural, it wasn't moving at all. Loch Ness sighting. In the 90s, a group of explorers in Scotland witnessed a massive being moving in the water. For a brief moment, a large shape emerged, revealing just enough before disappearing beneath the surface again. The water rippled, proof that something huge had been there. They knew right away. It wasn't just a big fish or a wave. It was a monster. This sighting became one of the most talked about moments, adding to the legend of the Loch Ness Monster, a mystery still discussed today. Inkanyamba sighting. A strange video surfaced online, sparking discussions worldwide. It showed a massive, monstrous creature moving through the water. Its size alone was terrifying, but what made it even more unsettling was its resemblance to the legendary Inkanyamba. This creature, known in folklore, is said to be an enormous, eel-like serpent with a horse-like head. Legends claim it has the power to summon violent storms and whirlwinds when angered, making its presence near lakes and waterfalls a sign of impending trouble. The video offered only a brief glimpse before the creature vanished beneath the surface. No one could confirm the exact location, leaving many to wonder, Had the legendary Inkanyamba finally been caught on camera, or was it something else creeping in the deep? River Dragon. Lost in the view, the tourist's attention shifted to a small motion in the water, something he hadn't expected. At first, he thought it was just a fish, but as he zoomed in, he realized it was completely else entirely. More specifically, a dragon. Its tiny scaled body glided smoothly, unlike any known creature. In Chinese folklore, dragons are legendary beasts, often described as powerful and fire-breathing. Seeing one in real life was beyond belief. Whether it was a rare species or mythical, it was a sight he would never forget. Prehistoric eel. While wandering along the rocky shore, a local caught sight of an unusual thing moving in the water. A massive eel-like creature moved beneath the surface, but its shape was different. It looked more like a dinosaur. Its long, scaly body glided through the waves, making it clear this wasn't an ordinary eel. The thought struck him instantly. Could this be a surviving prehistoric creature? If one was still alive, who knew what else could be in the depths? The bizarre sight made him wonder if he had just witnessed a living relic of the past. Strange sight in water. While fishing, a fisherman had a glimpse of a strange animal floating near the surface. It was drinking water from a pipe, but what caught his attention were the two mustache-like whiskers on its face. They moved like tiny hands, helping it guide the water toward its mouth. After a closer look, he realized it was a manatee. These gentle creatures love fresh water, and their whiskers, which look like fingers, help them feel and grab food. In Florida, it's common to see them drinking from water hoses for hours. Watching the manatee enjoy its drink, the fisherman smiled, amazed by how nature always had surprises waiting to be discovered. Swamp's ancient giant. This hunter sat at the edge of the swamp, sharing stories about strange creatures said to roam its waters. As they talked, something large broke the surface. At first, they thought it was just a regular turtle, but as it emerged, they realized it was something else, far bigger and more intimidating. Its massive shell was covered in thick algae, blending perfectly with the murky water. Then, a giant head lifted, its beak-like mouth snapping at the air. The hunters watched in stunned silence. The old stories were true. An ancient creature was creeping in the swamp, hidden from the world until now. Flood serpent. After massive floods swept through Thailand, locals spotted some weird movements through the canal water. A massive snake-like creature, far bigger than any known python, slithered through the flooded streets. Its sheer size made people wonder if it was a legendary cryptid finally revealed. Others thought it was just a giant snake displaced by the disaster. Videos of the creature spread fast, sparking debates. Was this an undiscovered species, or just nature adapting in a way no one had ever seen before? Whatever it was, the sight left a lasting impression. Lost civilization. This group of travelers in Thailand never expected to capture such a strange sight on film. From deep within a cave, strange humanoid beings emerged, unlike anything seen before. Their wild hair, unusual features, and primitive flutes made them seem like they had stepped out of another time. According to local legends, this cave leads to a hidden passage, possibly linked to Hollow Earth. The creatures moved strangely, showing no aggression. But then, as if commanded, they suddenly turned back. Their leader seemed determined to keep them from being filmed. But it was too late. The footage had already spread. Lake Mystery. Locals in South Africa were shocked when they eyewitnessed a humanoid figure floating in the lake. But the strangest part? It had no legs, only a long, fish-like tail beneath the water. As they watched, the realization hit. This wasn't just any creature. It looked like a mermaid, a being said to possess both human and fish-like traits. The witnesses stood frozen, unable to believe what they were seeing. Whether it was real or not, one thing was certain. They had never seen anything like it before. Mysterious swimmer. In a small town, a person from the town observed an odd creature in the water. A long, muddy-colored creature swam by, its tail shifting shape as it moved. Some believed it was a large rat, while others compared it to a hovering larva. What started as one sighting quickly spread, with more locals claiming to see the same strange creature. The town buzzed with theories, but no one could agree on what it truly was. To this day, it remains unknown, and if you know anything, please let us know. Glowing lake creature. One peaceful night by the lake took a shocking turn when a glowing figure appeared in the water. Seen by a camper, it had a long neck and translucent skin that shimmered under the moonlight. The camper stood frozen. The weird sighting spread quickly, and soon, rumors filled the air. Some believed it was an unknown lake creature, while others thought it was even stranger. Whatever it was, the sight left an unforgettable mark on those who saw it, adding yet another unknown mysteries to the lake's history. Unexpected catch. The fisherman froze for a moment when a mysterious fish began to swim directly toward him in the still waters. It moved slowly, almost too calmly. Curious, he picked it up for a closer look, but just as he did, the fish suddenly opened its wide mouth and snapped at him. Luckily, it missed, and he dropped it back into the water. He got scared as he realized how close he had been to a nasty bite. This was a reminder. Ocean creatures may look calm, but they are not always friendly. Lake encounter. At Lake of the Ozarks, a tourist stood near the water, enjoying the peaceful view. But suddenly, a humanoid figure with a massive skull emerged from the lake. Before he could react, another one appeared just a short distance away. Their strange features made it clear they weren't human. His mind raced. Were they aliens? If they had been seen in the woods before, were they now in the water too? Not wanting to find out, he slowly stepped back, making sure they didn't notice him before he disappeared into the trees. Mermaid skeleton.
Jesus Christ. What's that?
A tourist was walking along the rocky shore when he noticed a skeleton partly buried under a stone. Curious, he brushed away the dirt, and what he saw left him frozen. The skeleton had a long tail, but the upper body was unmistakably human. A mermaid? The idea made him scared. Without thinking twice, he picked it up and tossed it back into the water. He didn't want to stay any longer. Whether it was real or not, he knew one thing. He had seen something he was never meant to find.
Oh my God.
The strange catch. A local fisherman in Japan was walking along the shore when he spotted an unusual thing in the shallow water. Curious, he reached down and gently lifted a tiny fish with striking black and white patterns. Its delicate fins fluttered in his hand, and its large, bulbous eyes seemed to watch him intently. He had never seen anything like it before. Some believed it was a rare species, possibly undiscovered. Others whispered that strange creatures appearing near the shore were signs of something creeping in the deep. The fisherman hesitated for a moment before carefully releasing it back into the water. As he watched it disappear under the waves, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had just encountered beyond explanation. The unbelievable catch. The fishermen had been on the river since sunrise, hoping for a good catch. Just as they were about to pack up, one of them felt a powerful tug on his line. He struggled as the creature fought back, creating ripples across the water. When they finally pulled it up, they were stunned. The fish shimmered in shades of green, blue, and purple, its body covered in iridescent streaks that glowed like neon brushstrokes. It looked almost unreal, like something from a fantasy. They had never seen anything like it before. As they examined it, they couldn't help but wonder, had they just discovered a fish unknown to science, or was this a rare glimpse of nature's hidden beauty? Let us move on to our subscriber pick of the day. A hunter was roaming the wild, searching for prey, when he noticed movement in the distance. A massive being slithered across the ground, its body long and powerful like an alligator, but much, much bigger. It moved quickly. The hunter had never seen anything like it before, and a deep unease crept over him. Before he could react, the creature slipped into the water, vanishing beneath the surface. Without hesitation, he turned and decided to left, knowing he had just encountered a predator he never wanted to see again, and how lucky that it didn't come after him.